OG a lot. But when OG's introduction came out on stage, they were extremely quiet. They wanted OG to know, in this matchup, we're not favoring you at all. We are backing our boys, LGD.
Yeah, no boos, but you know, they're gonna show their hometown team love.
Seth going in for the dive, X-Nova.
And he's surrounded right now.
The Treant is going to reveal him the whole entire way, and Seb's going to try and get in position with the trees. He'll just finish him off with a little Treant, and that's going to be good enough. Meanwhile, Ame actually coming in through the side here does pick up Jerix, and he's going to try and challenge some of that CS that's floating into the tower. Our mid matchup continues to be rather dominant for Maybe's Gyrocopter. Just keeps on throwing out missile after missile.
And Maybe is a very good one-on-one mid laner. His creep aggro tricks, the way that he almost always times out denies. The fact that he's got 4 denies against the Zeus.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do, especially since with Thompson spamming out lightning bolt after lightning bolt, bringing himself a few mangoes as well. He's trying to keep the Rascal battle going back and forth. Not just be entirely run by the missile. Jerix takes a little bit of damage, but he has the range drop now, and that'll make the offensive pressure of this Oracle a lot less viable. So smart little choice by him after he got killed by Ame, traded out. LGD do manage to get the boundary rune at bottom lane. No tail, get a lot of damage in return though.
But it's currently Seb right now, leading the net worth chart on the side of both teams. Chalice not doing bad for himself either. And both offlaners having a good start. I feel like it's very important for Nature's Prophet, especially in this meta, to have a good start. Just because you do have comeback mechanics, but you need to be ahead with this hero to fight. Because he doesn't come with any sort of stun. His ulti is pretty good, but unreliable at team fights. So the important part about all of this is being able to be ahead and stay ahead in net worth.
They're trying to sneak in a kill. They do have that very defensive mid lane ward that spotted out the rotation from FY's line. So they know he's somewhere behind Thompson. So Thompson's going to play it really safe, especially whenever the missile is cast on him. One thing that LGD will need to rely upon heavily here is their teamwork and communication, right? Because while there are a lot of downsides to the Furion, the big advantage is this is a core Furion with so much global presence, you can't be overly focusing on your lane and just trading out against that enemy hero. You never know when the Furion's going to show up and change the odds.
And Ame, top lane, is going to start going on Seb. He doesn't have any chains yet. Wanted to see if he could find the angle, so Seb will be just fine. Has 2 different ways to get out of this situation. I think part of the reason why they take the MP2 though is they have an easy way to push out the lanes and start fights.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it just lanes well.
We're certainly seeing that with Ame falling below. Ana's face is void, but it comes to CS mid lane. They're going to drop the bomb. Maybe with the help of FY, will get the kill on mid lane OG Thompson. And they'll find that Observer ward that spotted out FY earlier. So really good read by him. He understood that his rotations were spotted. Finds a different angle to get it.
Jerix
now top lane. Jerix is going to be gone on his range drop. It's gone. So he's going to be slowly burned down by Ame. The slide of miss and finish him off. And X-Nova, can he stay ahead of the Furion? He will. And now Seb does not have a teleport, so he knows he kind of has to battle Ame back here. But the ultimate comes out. That'll be enough to finish off X-Nova. And the Flame Guard will wear out for Ame as well. Seb will be fine. Still though, 4-2 to the favor of LGD.
Part of something that we should talk about is the vision game between these two teams. Zeus and Nature's Prophet, of course, makes it so easy to win that vision battle. That's why...
Jeez, Anchor Smasher, no. And as long as he can get those bashes, it's still going to be an incredible amount of damage. Thinking about chasing down Jerix, just places down the rim.
Something we should note too is the presence of the 2 wards that LGD have decided to go for. This is, I think, a direct counter to Thompson and the type of rotations that he wants to make into the enemy jungle. We saw that so often in the series against EG, in fact, when he played the Tiny and he just found the TB over and over again.
Yeah.
This ward vision isn't really meant to protect mid so much as it is meant to protect the jungle and Ame's lane, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Thompson, more than any other core, invades that jungle area. So they want to make sure that they spot him coming the entire way through.
And I've noticed before, like, Thompson Zeus, he's very reliant on being able to pick up power runes and bounty runes as well. So those sort of rotations are going to be spotted out by these observer wards, at least the top half. just by process of elimination. Oh, X-Nova, he's still blocked in, trying to eat 2 different trees. That's still not good enough. Duck maybe is here. They're going to try and get the kill onto Jarex as they trade out X-Nova, run over by the Remnant. With the rotation coming out, OG isn't going to be too sad about it. They trade support for support, and it required maybe to make a rotation like that.
Yeah, but maybe he's trying to protect this top lane area. He's focusing on that so much because he doesn't want his jungle to get invaded. Seb gonna get stunned up. Ult immediately, and Seb has to be careful here, but maybe they don't have the damage.
Down here, it's gonna be a little hard. The Hex goes out. They're just running out of damage now. If anything, Thompson might be able to get the kill, especially with Jarex. With the long-range flash, but barely getting away with the TP as well. Great read by Thompson.
I would anticipate PSG.LGD to continue to send Gyro up to this top lane, protect this area, don't let this tower fall, especially against the Nature's Prophet. He plays like Beastmaster in the sense, mid lane Somnus getting a little bit low, but should be perfectly fine. He's got a lot of support behind him.
The next step is going to be those 10-minute bounty runes. Chalice is already pushed out bottom, and we've got rotations from our supports to secure this lane. If they can get the pick off on the No-Tail, the captain of OG, then they might be able to actually finish off this tier 1 tower. Otherwise, it's going to be a slow push.
X-Nova. He knows that Thompson is here. They know they smoke. They've got to get out of here.
Oh, he actually used the magic meter on himself, but there goes FY. X-Nova thought he was going to be the target. Now Jarex looks to be able to pick up the bounty rune in front of him and body block X-Nova as well with the Orb of Venom. Makes it very easy for Thompson to help get that kill. And now OG taking the kill score lead.
Very surprised that they decided to make that play. He didn't see Thompson until the smoke broke, so that should have alerted him to the fact that there were more than one hero here. At least he should know that one support is behind him, but they still decided to take the fight. Maybe they thought with the addition of Ravage it would be enough. Chalice was in no position to back them up.
It looks like we're going to see a continuation of Thompson's earlier build, which is just running for the really fast boots of travel with the Furion. They're going to try and abuse LGD and especially the slower pace of the Titan, right?
Yeah, I will say though, OG, their ways to start and end with Chronosphere for the most part. Maybe Jarex can get some stuff done too, but a lot is on Ana in this game. Chronosphere, of course, so good at taking every single fight. Void, I feel like, has been one of the heroes of the tournament, especially coming from a position where he was so weak, and nowadays everyone seems to love him. I think he just works so well as a counter core. Every single core in the game feels so bad about playing against him. And look at this. This is the ward that I was talking about that you were trying to protect. Protect the jungle against OG. Don't let them get in here for free.
That's why X-Nova is kind of positioned to be able to break smoke.
Oh, he was there to break the smoke, and he might still get caught out.
More, and now Jarex is going to try and take some of this CS. They're going to turn and try and kill Jarex, but there goes the Chronosphere. Oh, perfectly timed with the Earth Splitter. This is just the beauty of a team fight for OG. And picking this off on Ame as well. Rolling through, nails him and Thompson. Finish him off with lightning as well. OG just perfectly execute that fight, and LGD fall apart.
Oh, the timing of that was so rough for them. Yeah. X-Nova was there just to break that smoke. They have 2 wards to protect that area. Doesn't seem to matter as OG read that perfectly.
And that's all set up by Jarex as well, who getting into that position off the swashbuckle and being able to get that kind of ward down, spotting the stacks.
I mean, this ward right here, they're going to place a similar ward either in this area or this area higher up.
Yeah.
They always want to invade your jungle, and by taking the mid tower and pressuring this top.
Whoa! That lightning bolt just stalled FY long enough for Seb to complete his TP.
Once they lose this top tower, PSG.LGD is going to feel very hemmed in. You see that FY searching for it right now. They know there's vision up here. They eventually find it.
But the damage has already been done. A team wipe like that, or at least close to it, leads into the mid tower being taken, and that just means rotations into your jungle are going to come harder and faster, especially at that safe lane tower. Well, you know it's eventually going to die. You try and protect it, but it's like playing against a centaur.
I think you actually have to protect it in this game.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to do, but I think if PSG.LGD lose their safe lane tower too early, they're going to lose so much map control and map pressure in this game that Seb is going to have too good of a game. Which is why I wanted them to protect their jungle, and they were for the most part, but you slip for a second.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you lose control of your jungle, you lose 3 heroes, and you lose your mid tower.
Okay, what about if you're losing your mid tower? What about you try and take the enemy safe lane tower and open up their jungle? Is that going to be equally effective?
I'm okay with that play. It just feels rough because one side has a Tide Hunter and one side has the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
If you're going to make this play down towards bottom, I think then you have to go towards mid with your Ravage. That's the only way that you can keep up with the tempo of OG.
Look at Ame, he just can't stop it. The Treants, as well as Anna, will be able to finish up that safe lane tower. They just couldn't do enough to be able to stall that. So they'll trade out Tier 1 towers. As a result, OG holding a 2K gold lead to Thompson. Just doing a little bit of scouting there. I think he was maybe a bit afraid of some sort of smoke rotation or something. But X-Nova, he's been spotted here big time. Does manage to at least kill a ward, but he is certainly dead. They'll give that last hit to Seb as well.
There's already an Orchid on Seb, 14 minutes in.
Yeah.
This guy's got an Orchid.
It's pretty insane. I would have expected the old Solar Crest build from him.
I think it's because his lane was going so well.
Yeah.
And he's going to hard counter up the Ember Spirit as a result.
Yeah, Ame is going to be super unhappy with this timing, that's for sure. FY in trouble, gets hit by the Rolling Thunder, bounce back by Jarex, swashbuckle to finish him off, nice and easy, but at the same time, No Tail's going to be chased down. They are going to be able to get the Orchid out onto the Gyrocopter. Drums goes out, they want to make sure that everyone's safe here. X-Nova is always there with the Dispel as well.
And look at that, as soon as Ame sees the Orchid, he immediately pivots to the BKB.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs some sort of DPS item first, maybe even a Maelstrom into the BKB. I feel like this BKB is a little bit of a bait.
It's so hard too, right? It's like he could try and depend on X-Nova, but X-Nova doesn't really want to play around him all the time, right?
He wants to play around the gyro.
Yeah.
Completely right.
But at the same time, if you don't go this, if you do go the BKB, hold up, bottom lane, Jarex is going to be chain stunned here. He will have an opportunity to, oh, no, he won't. He'll just die a little bit too fast thanks to the Finger of Death.
I really feel like PSG.LGD, they want to utilize this Ravage. Like, you want to do something with it in this game. Sometimes the threat is better, but in this game right now, OG's not really respecting the threat of the Ravage.
Do you agree with that? 85-15, is this game that one-sided to OG's favor?
No. And it starts here as Thompson.
They're going to be able to put Thompson here with a pipe as well. They're made super tanky. And a kill streak on him as well. That's going to mean a lot for PSG.LGD and the two heroes that collect that experience and that bounty. But bottom lane, OG is beginning to round some of these heroes. Anna looking to chase him down. FY turns around for the Hex, but that's just enough. Oh, stun doesn't hit. Even though the Hex is there, there's no damage, there's no stunts. Now Ame, who's just mid lane, is now bottom, looking for an opening.
He's invis right now.
They're all teaming away inside the trees. Can they find anybody who's going to go for the blind slight fist?
They're pinging right now on the ground. Anna,
he knows No Tail's here. Anna, I think he realized he just has to leave behind, but the Ravage instantly going out. They have managed to finish off No Tail, yes, but there's no way they can go for Anna now. You're right, they wanted to be able to use that Ravage, but they only use it to be able to kill a 5 position, and now they're going to trade out X-Nova as he gets found expertly by Jarex.
And this is pretty disastrous, I think, for PSG.LGD because they rely so heavily on the Ravage to start fights for them too. And they haven't had to use the Chronosphere. This feels a little bit rough for them.
Yeah.
But they are farming a lot of stacks, and their timing is going to come once they get their BKBs. I feel like once you get your BKBs on PSG.LGD, the game changes once again.
Jarex, he's been really using the mobility of this swashbuckle to get wards down that you just wouldn't normally expect, fortunately, because of that brief
I think these teams do expect each other's wards, though.
Yeah,
they've played against each other in these high-pressure situations now. This is the 3rd time.
If anybody's going to be able to see these kind of moves coming up from OG, it's got to be LGD.
Yeah, and it feels like OG, it feels like they're doing the same things that they did that made them successful in the first place.
Massive kill. Jarex is going to fall with that big rotation from LGD, though. Look at this rotation from OG. No Tail.
That's real low, but
I actually thought for a second he was getting caught out by the Chronosphere. But he does jump away safely, kind of reading the situation in time.
And that's going to be the next timing window for PSG.LGD. It's once the BKBs come online, what do the fights look like? Of course, that doesn't solve all their problems because the Chronosphere doesn't really care. In the early game, though, BKB is so good against the Faceless Void, just because the time lock damage is magical. So if you get your BKB off, you're usually going to be okay.
Okay, so let's talk about like later into the game. We have this Faceless Void, and the win probability heavily favoring OG. Is this just because the Chronosphere is the be-all, end-all of team fights, but you simultaneously said it's like, it's their only form of initiation.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the game is that over as Dota Plus things. I think it's closer to probably like 60-40, if I had to guess, because I feel like PSG.LGD's lineup, they have multiple ways to begin a fight, and at the top level, I feel like that determines a lot. Whoever can start a fight first, it makes their lineup so much easier to play.
Yeah.
It's not impossible to play OG's lineup, but the execution has to be so high.
Yeah.
It means that Anna has to hit like these 2-3 man chronos that consistently catch at least one core hero, that consistently catch at least the Oracle so he doesn't just get that hard save. Whereas for PSG.LGD, you have Ravage, you're going to get Blink on your Lion at some point, your Gyro with his BKB can just run in for you, your Ember Spirit can consistently just sit in the back lines, poke you with chains. Like that is easy ways to begin a fight. Whereas like Topson won't do that for you. Seb's hero, he's very farmed, but Nature's Prophet by nature can't really begin a fight. He doesn't come with a stun. Sprout is nice, but it works. It's like it's one of those abilities that it sucks early game. It's pretty good in the mid game.
Yeah.
Late game, it's kind of bad, and then ultra late game, it's great again because you start running out of things like Pulling Blades and Force Stats.
Oh, hell yes.
What do you think is going through LGD's head in a situation like this, where they've opted to go the double BKBs? You've obviously shown some questions about it. You're not sure if this is like maybe they're sacrificing too much of their game. Do you think it's they're scared of this early game of OG and want to make sure they're not run over? Or do you think it's more about they feel confident in their late game and they just have to weather through the storm in the next coming moment?
I think it's both. I feel like what they're trying to do is match OG's timing. OG is a very timing-based team. Once they get their 2 or 3 items, they just want to run at you and fight, fight, fight. I think PSG.LGD, what they're trying to do is weather that storm. And by going for the BKBs, you give yourself the best chance at actually being able to team fight 5-on-5. Because I feel like that's what a lot of teams lack, is the ability to engage OG on their terms. That's what we saw EG falter in Game 2 and Game 3 when they took that Terrorblade and the anti-mage. They just never had any opportunities to straight up 5-on-5.
Was that intentional? It looks intentional.
Crowd having a little bit of fun with this pause right now, as so are the players. And I love to see the fact that LGD, we obviously saw in some of the documentaries and such that it did get into LGD's head, all the chat whale that was happening, right? There is a psychological element to Dota 2.
You don't think they've muted each other by now?
And I mean, I like the fact that LG is playing along. Whether or not they've muted OG and are just, spamming out chat wheel, hoping that they see it. But I like the fact that they're doing it just as much as OG is.
You got to, you got to face your fears, right? You can't run from them. You know that OG is doing it. You can't let it bother you.
And what better way to do it with tons of fans and friends supporting you here in Shanghai?
I can't believe both teams, by the way, have made it back.
I know, it's just so insane because we always talk about the marker, right, of the first player to be able to win an international twice. And then the fact that it hasn't happened yet, 8 years of internationals, now on our 9th, the fact that it hasn't happened yet goes to show how hard it is to maintain that dominance in the Dota 2 field, that the competition level is so high that you just cannot be the best for very long.
I think it's because of the meta switches.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's the motivation. Once you've won TI, you've won it all. And once you've gotten second, I feel like we had that second place curse for a while, right? Where we saw DC, C-Deck, this team that just kind of falls off a cliff.
Yep.
It's so hard to motivate yourself to think you were that close to winning it all. On one side, you have a team that thinks to themselves, we worked so hard and we came up short. And you have another team that says, well, we've accomplished everything that we need to in Dota. And the fact that they've been able to push themselves back to this level, both sides, it means they're hungry as ever. I mean, that's simply incredible.
The story with LGD, I think, is really interesting, where you have players like Maybe, who have been long heralded as this god-tier player who was kind of chosen by a lot of the Chinese fans and such to be that player that would represent them and bring home the Aegis.
Yeah, he is their champion.
Yeah. And I can see the motivation, I can see all the stories for them, but how does OG have the will to just make it through again? back-to-back like this.
Yeah, it's incredible from both sides.
Yeah.
I respect the hell out of this competition. I'm sure they have a lot of mutual respect for each other. It must be so surreal looking over the stage and you see these guys, and you think to yourself, here we go again.
By the way, I just want to point out the fact that we know that every single day, OG has developed their own taunt meta, we'll say, right? Where it came with the sprays, now it comes with the flags they've been laying down the last few days. They've been changing up their icons every day for OG, and has been just different pictures of each other from the TI.
Oh, they chose each
photo
other's.
shoot. Yeah. So, for example, Jarex has that Thompson photo where he's pointing towards the camera, sort of like an invoker. That's actually one of my favorites. I have to imagine, like, these guys, they've been on this stage before, but having a pause like this, I wonder how much of a reset it bothers OG, who's a very momentum-based team, right? Whereas LGD obviously have yet to be able to hit their timings in their BKB, are able to plan out a little bit about what OG's next move is going to be. And it is kind of OG's, it's in their court, right? Because they have this Nature's Prophet, and they have this Thompson Boots of Travel. They want to be able to outmaneuver LGD as much as possible.
So the one thing about these heroes, when you have Zeus and Nature's Prophet, is they want to abuse the fact that they can play globally. What you want to do is push in the lanes, force one hero from PSG.LGD to come back, deal with the lanes, and as soon as that happens, you find yourself in a 4v5 situation. I think in a pure 5-on-5, it's actually really hard for OG to win team fights, unless you get like some sick chrono off. But as a whole, I think if you run it back a few times, PSG.LGD comes out on top, which is why I think they took the Ember, because you have a hero that, because I was thinking about it, why did they take Ember over here like Storm, for example?
Yep.
And I think the reason why they took it is, this is another hero, he didn't go Boots of Travel, but he does have the ability to simply keep a Remnant near his teammates, TP back, deal with the lane, then come back in. And that's why he has to go for the BKB, because at some point, OG's going to read that trap.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we can just bring in our Orchid Nature's Prophet plus one hero. He's going to die every single time.
Yeah.
So you have to get that BKB. It's not just for the team fight. It's so that you can safely push out the side lanes. It's such a cool meta that's developed in this regard. Like, that's why the draft matters so much. Like, you need some way to deal with OG's ability to just deal with the waves at all times. You don't want the waves in your face. That's how OG sets up fights.
So just like we were talking about how LGD is going to identify OG's win condition in Anna's Faceless Void, how they're actually going to be able to start fights. The same's going to be happening with LGD, identifying how OG wants to move around the map and how they're going to try and counter that.
Yeah, I've watched their games. Like, I don't watch a lot of replays. I like to watch the games live, but these games I study like 40 times. The finals and their upper bracket finals.
Yeah.
Because I found it so interesting, like the mini meta that has developed between these two teams. Like, why they pick the heroes that they pick. Because they've definitely developed like an internal meta anyways. They've extended their best of like 14 across 2 different tournaments now.
Battle Rune's going to be split, but Ame will have the advantage of finding a double damage rune. See whether or not LGD wants to try and take a fight against OG now that they have their double BKBs, one for Gyro, one for the Ember Spirit. Thompson, meanwhile, he's got Eul's Scepter plus Boots of Travel. Anna has his Hand of Midas, and he's going to be working on a fast Diffusal Blade, so he's not as reliant on Bashes or Chronosphere to be able to lock people down and get his damage in. After Seb finished up that Orchid, he's got a BKB on its way. So very fast timing for him.
And you notice that OG, for once, they're not just looking for the straight-up 5-man. They'll just continue to poke and prod, see where the weakness is for PSG.LGD, and as soon as they aren't together as 5. And you notice right here, Ame, he's playing away from his team. This is the correct move.
Yep.
Always play away from your team because you have the ability to gap close and come in to help them out. Gonna get gone on at bottom for the time being. Silenced up, but
he's ready to try and finish off Seb. You use the BKB as soon as he thinks he's got Seb dead, and Seb's gonna try and go for the TP, but it's not good enough. And that was 1,000 gold for Ame. Holy crap!
that's and now he's level 17.
Oh,
He's level 17.
Oh, okay. Well, that's That's halfway to a relic already for Ame.
That's the same level as the Zeus who's got the XP talent cap, just for context.
Okay, then.
That's more than double X Novas.
Well, you could see exactly why OG want to stay away from the 5-man fight right now, because PSG.LGD, they're very strong. Between their double BKBs and their Blink Dagger picked up by the Tide Hunter. The worst thing that they can happen for OG is trying to challenge PSG.LGD and get caught into a Ravage situation.
And this is why I didn't think the game was 85-15, because PSG.LGD can just do this. They can send one hero at all times, Ame. You'll always see him be the one to push out the lanes. And as soon as he does, the rest of his team can 4-man, do whatever they feel like because they feel strong. Because they know that OG doesn't want to just get into a straight 5-on-5. And that's OG's strength, but they've gone for something a little bit different here.
Maybe he's farming really fast, too. Like, even though he went for the straight BKB and not one of those farming items, he will have an Aghanim Scepter very soon. That's going to make this Gyrocopter extremely tanky.
I think these BKBs were more picked up so in case there is a team fight, but so you can secure these towers.
Yeah.
When you go for these tower pushes, OG, they'll see the smoke with the Zeus ulti.
How do you
get active
change
in the lanes fast?
Once you have that kind of play where you smoke up, you have an idea of what you want to go for, and something like this happens where your smoke has been spotted out. Do you adapt? Do you keep on going for what your original
I think you get
play
vision
was?
out.
Okay, you just use this moment to be able to get vision instead of fighting.
It's a little bit too obvious to get into a 5-on-5 situation.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just awkward. The better thing to do is get vision. Because that's really all you can do. The enemy team knows that you're together. So it's best to just see where you can place wards without actually getting spotted out, and that's exactly what they do.
X-Nova dropping sentries all over the place, making sure, and this is just one of those really common, if you're Radiant side, you've lost their safe lane tower, you're gonna try and control your own jungle area because it helps you control the mid lane tower as well. So he's trying to find any of those observer wards before he actually drops his own off.
Yeah, and it's actually FY that's in this top lane, so PSG.LGD should have activated. OG's gonna look for this fight because they know that this line can come in. At best, it's a 4-on-5. That's why Ana's looking for it.
Why do you think they sent the Lion back?
I'm not sure. I think they were actually trying to avoid the 5-on-5. And you saw for a second they were there as 4, and they're like, wait, the wrong hero is not here.
Yeah.
Anytime FY shows in a lane like that, OG's going to smoke up and take a fight. Anytime maybe shows in a lane like that, OG will smoke up and take a fight.
Yeah, because the disables are so effective against the OG heroes, right? Faces Void, you've got this Pango who can't really swashbuckle forward, has to just rely on Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a mistake by FY, showing in that top lane. As soon as you showed in that top lane, it makes it really hard for the rest of PSG.LGD to be down in that bottom area.
Now, Blitz, a lot of people are going to say, well, what do you mean mistake? Because nothing bad happened. We actually didn't lose any heroes as a result. Why was that bad for PSG.LGD?
Because I think they wanted to take that fight. I think they want to be in that bottom area and continue to protect their ward. If you notice, as a result of that happening, they instantly lost this ward down here at bottom. Being able to protect that ward and take a fight around that, because they placed 2 sentries too, you know that OG, they don't have any vision in that camp. Like, you'll win the vision advantage in that fight alone.
Yeah.
And being able to fight with vision is so important for your cores.
And now they're really fractured, right? As they retreated back, they naturally, like, some of them
this is
went
what
to their triangle, and this is what OG is trying to take advantage of.
Yeah.
They know, okay, they retreated. Highly unlikely they all 5-man back to the same side.
It's a little bit awkward for them because now, whenever you have to back out like that, like you said, I really like that point, it leaves an opening. Yeah. Naturally, somebody is going to go in a different direction.
You have to be in crazy discipline as a team to, like, 5-man back in that situation. Like, sure, if you're hitting high ground, everyone knows, back together, nobody TP away foolishly, don't let them get an opening. But, like, in that situation, right, going from jungle to jungle, naturally people want to farm.
Yeah, if you notice, the Ember Spirit is really close to a Sacred Relic, and his Radiance. You have Ame that just finished up his Aghanim Scepter. Like, these guys want items. It's human nature. You're really close to something, like, just a little bit more.
Yep. And he will get that Aghanim Scepter because of the way he's split up, but we'll see whether or not he gets caught.
Yeah, that's the scariest part about OG is they sort of ignore that in a way. They're like, screw human nature. Yeah, because you have this Nature's Prophet that's almost close to an AC. And Thompson almost has his Aghanim Scepter, like, and they're just like, whatever, just take the fight. Yeah. The numbers advantage is too good.
They could have just, you know, like, okay, like, we've taken over our own jungle, let's keep farming and such, but Instead, OG is the kind of team that just says, hey, they've screwed up. Let's take advantage of that. How you feeling, Blitz? Enjoying TI?
Oh, I love this series.
God, it's so good, right?
If you can tell, like, I did my homework.
Yes.
I watched the VODs.
Yep.
Oh, because I wanted to know, like, what makes these teams tick.
Yeah.
Why is OG as good as they are? Because I feel like LGD, what they're doing is, like, they're playing into it a little bit. They're like, okay, OG is the same squad.
Yeah.
That's no criticism of them. It's actually impressive, like, how well they've done.
Yeah.
Off of, like, this one principle of Dota. And it's like, you know, invade the jungle, secure the safe lanes out, push them out, force people to play at your tempo. And PSG.LGD is thinking, what are the counters to that? We don't want to play the same game. We don't want to get into these, like, 70-minute slugfest. Because I feel like OG, that's what they like. They like to clinch you, throw to the body repeatedly. And PSG.LGD, conversely, they're like, what's the counter to that then? How do we deal with that? We pick up these early BKBs. We have a hero that can deal with the split push. Make it so that we can punish them in the 5-on-5 fights.
Since we are going to be here for just a bit longer, I want to tell you guys some about the atmosphere of this stadium. There's basically there's two different big seating areas, one at the bottom, one at the top, and it is just packed all the way to the tip of the top of the stadium.
Yeah, it's actually wild how many OG fans came out.
Yeah, we had a decent number of fans right behind me,
Yeah.
but other than that,
No, there's everywhere. There's about half the crowd, I'd say.
half the crowd are cheering for OG.
Yeah.
They're just not near the mics.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They,
yeah.
They're just not near the crowd mics.
They're a little bit further.
Yeah.
They got some upper seats. Don't worry, guys.
yeah. Unfortunately, all the LGD fans are all at the bottom, and that's everything you're hearing. No, it's like, again, it was almost deathly quiet when OG came out. No booing or anything, but and I think the crowd is smart in that way. They want OG to know, like, hey, we supported you up until now, but in this series, we're definitely back at LGD.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding their LGD is invincible flags. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the brackets and see how OG and LGD managed to make it this far. It was crazy how many of the same teams were showing up in that upper bracket again, right?
It feels like deja vu. Last time, of course, EG, they went a little bit further, but things happen.
True. They got their rematch against OG in the upper bracket semifinals, just like last year.
That was a real heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Although this time around, they kind of got crushed.
The LGD versus VG game, I'm a little bit sad that one went 2-0 just because, hearing them talk about playing against each other and what that was like. I mean, they said that LGD actually, was like, they really respect each other, right? Like VG Gaming, they're a young squad, so they look up to everybody who's on the side of LGD. And now they're going to have to ride all their hopes for a China TI.
Yeah. Wasn't it Fade
LGD.
that was like, I'd love, he's like, my dreams to go to the finals against LGD, and then LGD wins.
And then crown
Yeah.
LGD. Very cute. And LGD, I'm sure, is feeling a lot of that pressure of being the last remaining home team. There's a lot of little stuff in that interview. So I think it was also Fade who said, like, is he 20, 22 years old or something? He's like, I've been a fan of FY for 22 years. Like,
Yeah.
And I think that's something about Dota in China, right? Is that there is just a bigger legacy to be had, right?
Yeah,
Dating back to the Dota 1 days.
Now that DDC, as you know, my personal favorite player in the world, now that DDC's out, I think I might switch sides to the Chalice train. I think that might be...
That might be your new favorite.
Yeah, it might be that or... It might be that or like Seb. Because
Yeah.
Seb was a talent. And then he
Dude,
rode his way
that was
back.
the crazy part. We worked ESL 1 Frankfurt with Seb.
Dude, he
and
told
now
me...
we watched him win a TI, and now we're watching him in an upper
Austin,
bracket final.
deadass, he looked me in the eye.
Yeah?
And he said, I'm going to make it as a pro again. And I straight up, I laughed inside.
You laughed at him?
I straight up was like, oh, good luck, dude. I was like, I'll see you next TI, as a panelist. And then, what a fool he made me. And I'm so happy for him. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always a pleasure to be able to work with Seb. Just, a very happy guy all around. And I think it's also really inspiring. I think it was inspiring to a lot of people.
Yeah, Syndrome's back there like writing as many notes as he can about what happened. He's like, what did he do at these events?
How did he get the motivation? Well, Syndred, first thing, you have to become a coach.
Yes.
That was the first step, right?
The
It's just coming
remix.
back and being a coach. And that's
we're going to get back
Let's
into
get
the game.
back into it. OG versus LGD, game 1. We are 24 minutes in. OG have a 1,000 net worth lead. They have a global combo between Furion plus a Boots, a Travel, Tops, and Zeus. We are closing in on some very key items.
Bottom lane. They look like they want to make the play force.
Beating out Seb, though, with his early BKB. Again, he got the Orchid super fast, so BKB had it about 23 minutes.
Match that tempo.
Last time he, Ame challenged him in that 1v1, and he gave away 1,000 gold. Seb was just a little bit shy of the BKB, but this time he's got it.
It probably tips you off to the fact that you're the highest net worth here in the game. When you see that 1,000.
Yeah. It's one of those things, you don't really know that information until perhaps it's a bit too late. Batting roots on the ground. PSG.LGD scrambling to grab everything on the bottom lane. OG did not get the chance to be able to punish maybe in his positioning, so he does pick up the Aghanim Scepter. And even popping the Shrine, even though he was about 3/4 full. Just gonna top things off, get some fresh fuel for the fight to come.
I love when people hold on to bounty runes, by the way. Let it percolate.
Why though? It doesn't do anything. Once you put it into your bottle, it's based off the time you picked it up.
I know, but it's cool.
It's cool.
It's like you've got a gold explosion.
Guys, I don't have buyback. Someone use your bottle bounty rune.
Well, as soon as he hits like 1,200 gold, he's gonna pop it.
Okay. It's gonna be that surprise, haha.
All right, they're gonna go for. I'd like to see him remnant back, TP, help his team.
Yep. Deal with that top
play?
lane push.
Yeah.
It is a big push.
This is your job right now.
Yeah.
As Ame, letting anybody else do this job, no. It's purely for him. Stay down here is 4 on the side of PSG.LGD. Stick
This
around,
is
let him get
why,
his radiance.
Anna's kind of sticking around, right? He may try and go for the Chronosphere onto Ame.
Yeah, they're gonna TP in with the Nature
And
Prophet.
he goes
Chronos and
straight up the Chronosphere. The TP coming in for the Furion just outside of me. Doom he walks through it, but the BKB activated, he jumps away. This is why Ame picked up the fast BKB, and sadly Seb was just on the outside of being able to make some auto attacks.
It's not for the team fight. It's for when you go for these split pushes that you need to be afraid. And Seb, if he TPs on the other side, they definitely get that kill.
Yeah. And he was stuck in a situation where he was already TPing basically at the same time the Chronosphere was down, so he was like, I shouldn't really cancel this and replace it.
That was such a sick trap. By getting punished for that now, losing the bottom tier 2 tower, you can put even pressure. And this is the worst thing as a Nature's Prophet. Once you lose your tier 2 towers, the potential for trading racks is always available to them. And because you have this Ember Spirit, it's even harder to just go for a 1-for-1 racks trade.
Right.
So if PSG.LGD feels stronger, they'll just go for it.
And they should be picking up the pace right about now, right? They just got their Radiance. They know there's no Chrono.
Yeah, you go for it right now.
There's no better time to go for it, and that's why they're just trying to, they're not going for the kill at all, but they're just trying to push Chalice back, make him so he's low enough he doesn't feel comfortable leading an engagement. They push out mid, which is going to make this smoke a little bit more obvious. They use the Orchid onto Ame. He's obviously fine. He will hold on to his BKB charge as well. PSG.LGD, they're going to be spotted at Thunder God's Wrath, just as we were talking about that mid lane push. Pushing Chalice back, pushing the wave in, makes that obvious. They read exactly where PSG.LGD is, but LGD still going to go for it. His Chalice going to wrap around with FY behind the tier 1 tower. They're going to jump for it. Catching No Tail. The Rolling Thunder is out from Jerax already. He's going to hit FY as well as the Thunder God's Wrath and stuff, but they're going to be able to bring down one support at least. Chalice left in an awkward position here, but maybe focusing on that objective. And OG, a little bit skittish about taking the fight. You've got 15 seconds left in the Chronosphere, and that's why Ame immediately going to jump into this high ground, hoping to be able to help X-Nova out. He's going to use the ultimate. There goes the Ravage, but it doesn't actually catch Elena. They only manage to finish up Jerax. They're going to jump over the Shrine where Thompson is sitting all by himself. No, the buyback coming in. Jerax, he's going to try and help out more Thompson here. Use Scepter onto himself. The Jar Pups is trying to stay away from Anna and all that physical damage. The Chrono's back. It just came out. The Rocket Rock is enough to finish off Anna, and Anna will finish off the Gyro in turn. Ame, he does have a lot of damage though with that Radiance. Can they chase down Anna?
Seb is still strong.
Chains, he's instead going to go for the 2 supports here. He's got Seb as well as Jerax. He will not try and chase down the carry of Anna, but he will get 2 kills for the team.
And that was the buyback from Jerax. Fantastic fight from PSG.LGD. That all comes down to X-Nova's positioning. They all leaned on him while they were killing the cores of the backline of OG. And once you get on top of the Zeus, the team fight feels completely over.
14-16, 29 minutes in, and PSG.LGD for the first time in about 15 minutes had the net worth lead. No matter how small it is, they do have the lead, they do have the experience. With the Chronosphere being used in that last fight as well, that's going to give PSG.LGD a lot of confidence to keep this going. They need Ravage, though, in 70 seconds.
And they should feel really strong right now.
Yeah.
It's so hard for OG to take a fight. Like I said, straight up 5-on-5s, OG will lose. Even with Chronos, OG hit a 2-man Chrono onto both cores, and it doesn't matter.
So Xnova, there's a lot of ways that Oracle's try and solve the problem, which is you've got a target on you. Everyone's going to try and chase you down. And a lot of them go for Glimmer Capes, Blink Daggers, maybe an Ether Lens to help the cast range. But here, because of the global presence of Furion plus Zeus, we've got Xnova trying to rush an Aeon Disc, which is a really smart decision, I think.
It also makes it so that if you do get chronoed with one of your 2 cores, you'll never be focused down.
Yeah.
It just wastes more and more time from mana. And I think for PSG.LGD, the longer the fight lasts, because you have a core that can consistently catch up to the enemy team and comes with his own stun, you're going to be stronger. Which is wild to think about, considering Zeus is one of the best.
Yeah, that is one thing. The only thing that really can stop that longer team fight going in the favor of LGD has got to be Thompson. And that's why they've been trying to focus him down so much.
He needs a Blink Dagger.
20. That's what he's going for, is that Blink Dagger. Again, the Orchid, but again, Ame doesn't care. In fact, he almost has an Aghanim Scepter already.
He needs to outplay them right now, Thompson.
Yeah.
Get the Blink Dagger. Figure out your positioning in team fights to be able to get in and out.
It's going to be so hard against the Aghanim Scepter, Ember Spirit. I've heard a lot of Ember Spirit players, CCNC in particular, I think, Gunner as well, agreed with this. The Aghanims is a bit of a trap. But in this game, right, it is meant for it. Trying to get on top of the Zeus is like Ame's biggest objective in every single fight, and Aghanim Scepter will do a lot for them.
Didn't they say it was a trap when you get it before you hit level 25?
Yeah, I think that was also another part of it, in which Ame is closing in on 25.
Yeah, once you get your 25 plus the Aghanim Scepter, I think it's real good.
Yeah. He's already got so many damage items as well. Hasn't opted for anything that's going to proc off a Sleight of Fist just yet. But
I would have really liked for, in this game in particular, for him to have gone for the Boots of Travel.
Yeah.
It makes this playstyle that he's opting for a little bit stronger.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't go for the Maelstrom as well, considering how, you know, the Furion with so many trance.
Radiance works?
Radiance works just as well, I guess, and maybe stronger in these team fights for him. The Blink Dagger's almost here for Thompson. What else do we have? Jerix is trying to get a Glimmer Cape, I think specifically to help out Thompson, because they know how important his positioning is in these fights. Seb has his AC. And Anna, the BKB as well as a Manta. 9-second BKB left for him.
I sort of feel like OG, they sort of have to go for a smoke, pick off a core, and immediately try to Roshan. And use that Roshan to get even more map control. Grab this tier 2 tower at bottom, then diverge onto this mid lane.
Because you are going to feel like really good once you have that Satanic on
yes.
Driver, right? So
I think they really need to make that play on the side of OG. Go for some sort of 5-man, try to get the cores. If you can find the Ember Spirit doing this playstyle, that would be ideal. The problem is, normally you get one moment where you can trick somebody and they forget about how they can die. Yeah. And that was a top lane. But maybe they can do it again. Ame, if he's going to stick around for the next creep wave, he could just die here.
2,500 HP. Can he actually live through with all this? They're going to be able to help out with the Nimbus as well as Jorgen. Oh, with the Manta, man. Anna just cleaned him up so quick.
Go Roche. Go Roche.
Go Roche. Is this the opportunity for OG that they needed to claim the Aegis?
You at least have an opportunity to, if he did have buyback, you could maybe force a buyback, but as soon as they know that they're Roshing and they can't buyback, they know the Ember's out of the fight.
Yeah.
They didn't go for a smoke, but it's the same idea. Get a core pick off, go into Roshan. You have to use this Aegis.
And how much of this is a feint from Chalice? Is he just threatening, hey, Ember Spirit could buy back, you got to get out of this pit? Or does he actually think they can win a 5 versus 4?
I don't think they can win a 5 versus 4, but they're trying to stall it up as long as they can. But once they see FY at top lane, they're going to just walk back into the Roshan pit.
Yeah.
They know this isn't a real fight. This is sort of just buying a little bit of time.
OG are doing a really good job at making the most of this, right? With the push onto top lane, getting tier 3, the tier 1 at bottom, actually does fall, Chalice.
Yeah, what they're trying to do is buy time with Ember Spirit. There's about still a 25-second window. Seb is now here with his AC.
All right, if OG was going to commit, they have to do it now. At 20 seconds.
Nice defense by PSG.LGD.
Yeah, that was so smart of Chalice.
Chalice just walks in. He knows there's no chrono. He can't die. He's got a pipe and a Solar Crest and Vlad's. But I do think the idea behind what OG was going for is the right play.
Yeah. And hey, if that play happens again, then next thing you know, you've taken the tier 2 at bottom.
Oh, they're going for it now.
Ooh. PSG.LGD, they said, you didn't want to fight us? 4 versus 5? Well, guess what? Now the Ember Spirit's alive. And we don't think you're going to fight us for this.
They got to wait out chrono, too. 10 seconds left, so it is going to be up. PSG.LGD, because they've got this this Satanic, I think they feel a little bit too overconfident. They've got to be careful. If this Faceless Void engages, I was looking for the angle right now. He sees 2 cores for the time being, but both teams just playing around this area, both loath to just give it up.
Roshan is getting so low, bit by bit, that eventually someone's going to fully commit to it. They are going to be able to get the ping off. That's going to start with FY. Now the Orchid onto the Tidehunter, prevent any sort of ravage, as OG did get a little bit too close to that Watermelon.
And look at this Ana. He's making his way up.
Making sure to use that mobility to their advantage. You can see Seb pushing in bottom lane. This is an opportunity for him to take the tier 2. With no boots of travel, Ame has a tough time being able to deal with this. He's going to run to bottom lane, but damage, a significant amount, will have already been done with the double Sea Dragon push.
Seb likely to take this tower. At least the Sea Dragons, they'll get him denied.
Solar Crest. They finish off the Nimbus. That's another 100 gold.
Maybe he's committed for this. FY's coming back right now.
Oh, that 40 movement speed coming in just at the right time. Ame sees his opportunity to be able to jump in the back line. Time FY's been stunned up onto Ana. Now maybe is going to be able to get around, but Thompson being hunted down the route. Going down the blink. They get right. He gets out with the Shrine activated. FY might just be able to live. Jerry's getting a little stuck on the cliff, but it looks like FY does manage to live. Ame jumping back into this one. Will manage to find No Tail here. That's one support down, 5 for 5. Now LGD trying to go back into their own home ground to be able to finish up, and he got there. He's dead, and now OG.
He does have buyback and Chrono Spirit. He's got to commit to it right now if he is going to do it.
He does have a TV scroll up. He's going to commit now with a stomp, landing on a 3. Can maybe finish this one up.
So low.
He's going to be able to jump in, throw a sphere out. The aim's already been picked up in Ana.
They've got to retreat.
This is no longer a fight he can take, but Jared's already picked off. The stop stable. Ana's been hit. Ana's been caught. The time watch over the side. Seven's here with his route. Anything to be able to protect brother Ana, but he's still been slowed down. Another stop. This time for the AT, and that will be enough for Ana to be able to get out. It looks like Seb, his life has been forfeited here as he's going to be chased down by Ame. Pops the BKB, tries to go for the Sprout TP away, and he's fine, actually. Impressive play by OG to be able to bail out Ana and still get out. But still, a big win for PSG.LGD as they managed to just finish up Roshan just in time. I mean, the balls that may be there to say, I'm going to pop BKB and I'm finishing up this Roshan, even as Ana's buying back and trying to TP in.
Oh, that was so rough. I actually thought that fight was going to go okay for OG. After they went on Thompson and Thompson outplays them, Yule's into the blink. He dodges the Ravage. He goes right. The Ember Spirit think he walked up. It looked really good. And then Ana was never able to get his Chronosphere off in that engagement. He just didn't really see a good opportunity. He wasn't able to keep up with his Zeus. So they weren't able to layer their damage together. As we're going to see again, he drops the Chronosphere. He thinks about running in, but he knows that's a trap. FY, he's ready with the stun.
I mean, maybe if he had been able to time walk actually into the pit, he was just there a second faster. Time walks into the pit, gets off the Chronosphere. Sadly, level 20 talent just wasn't quite enough. I thought Seb was dead here for sure.
Nice BKB usage. Gets the Sprout just around his body.
And it's always tough. You've seen it time and time before. These late game Furions, nobody wants to be able to hold on to a quelling blade this late. FY and Chalice are the only ones who have it here. Oh, no, never mind. X-Nova has it as well. Butterfly up next for our Gyrocopter. And this is going to be some serious momentum for PSG.LGD. It's funny, though, that win probability still heavily favoring OG. And I think even after that fight, it may still be in their favors. Yeah, 66%. Again, the late game of the Baseless Void and trying to go high ground against that, as well as the ET, the Zeus, the mobility of the Furion. The list actually goes on and on how good high ground defense is for OG.
I still think this game is slightly PSG.LGD favored.
Yeah.
I'm not really willing to... I think this game's pretty coin flippy. The OG's lineup, the way that it functions is if they do win one team fight, they're going to push in the lanes real quick. They've got the Buildster, they've got an AC, their heroes hit towers very well. But I feel like right now, PSG.LGD, they should win most of the team fights. It's a lot easier for their Ember Spirit to get his damage off as opposed to Thompson, who's got to play constantly on retreat. Like, he has to rely on Ana to get that Chronosphere off, and when he doesn't, you see how weak their lineup looks.
So we have with the Scythe of Ice being finished up by Seth. Ame is already trying to address that with an Aeon Disc for his own. So
they do have a Hex now on Seth. That's a big item pickup for him.
So that's why he's trying to go for that Aeon Disc, because the BKB may not be enough anymore. He still needs to be able to address that split push from OG, even if they have the team fight locked in, especially with the Aegis on maybe right now. They have to make sure they are not outmaneuvered by OG, as they've done that so many times in the past and so many times at this international as well. It's part of what their aggression, why it looks so good, right, is being able to, first of all, put the enemy team in the wrong place, wrong part of the map, and then force that fight, a Shadow Blade. Or a Seb just to help him get that Scythe of Ice off.
It's good damage too, and it helps him so that he can deal with these stragglers. He doesn't have to pop his BKB just to get kills. There is a gem pickup almost immediately by X-Nova. I think they're feeling the lack of wards right now. Like I think they've accepted that they're never going to get wards out for very long, but they also have to take away OG's vision if they can. That's where OG's lineup is still pretty potent.
It's so hard against a Furion, right? Like sometimes you just give the wards to the Furion, even if he's core, and he goes out, plants some Jerix with his swashbuckle, allowing him to get to places that most supports can as well.
Yeah, we saw in the pre-game stats, by the way, both teams used to such aggression, but this time, and they played against each other so often that they've slowed down the pace. They know that all it really comes down to is the team fights.
Thundergod's Wrath going off, just making sure that LGD can't really challenge for this bounty room. And that'll allow OG to be able to get 3 out of the 4, even against an Aegis. It goes to show, like, PSG.LGD, they're still going to be a little bit timid about taking fights against OG, especially as they're split around the map. A Rolling Thunder going off does manage to knock up X-Nova with that blind being finished off as well. 2 different kills like this would be massive. They do have Ame coming in, but immediately the BKB from Seb, they know 2 pickoffs on the supports. As long as nobody dies here, they're going to do a long jump in from the Aghanim Scepter Spirit to be able to chase down No-Tail, but No-Tail managed to get off the stomp onto Ame. Ame finishes him off with a double damage, especially with Chalice and Maybe joining him in the mid lane.
And so the split push continues. Tops in that top lane, Seb towards bottom. If you can't fight him, extend the game until you find opportunities where you can.
Especially with these level 25 talents coming in. Ana has his with the Chronosphere AoE. We've got.
I know there's no BKB, but no vision either.
Yeah. Those effective late game Shadow Blades. It's always tough for cores to carry vision.
Yeah, that's why Nature's Prophet, it doesn't feel awful, even though you can't team fight too well. Sprout is going to get much better as the game goes on. Your Shadow Blade will get a lot better because cores can't really carry around the gems or anything like that.
Yeah. Look at that though. The most Zeus's IC go for that 155 hard lightning damage. It's so much considering how often you spam it. Oh, it's this TP in Seb! That's some church bells hanging between his legs right there. Just TP's in, instantly BKBs, finished off the tier 3. Now shrines have been unlocked, and eventually he'll take it with the Treants.
Look at Maybe's build, by the way. He's decided to go for the Basher because he's so tired of this. He knows they need some way to punish that.
With the Mjolnir attack speed as well, he's just going to be focusing on all of the
Bottom lane.
various procs. They are going to be able to get the Aegis to pop here. It takes away the regen while Ame being gone on. They do have the Chronosphere. It's Seth going to be able to get him
They've got the damage for this.
It just overwhelms Ame very quickly. He still, and I'm not sure if he ever will, be tanky enough to live through that Chronosphere unless he's got the Aeon Disc.
He didn't have a Remnant far back enough. I think he was relying on the speed to try to outplay. Got a little bit lazy there. And OG punishes their lineup. It's designed to constantly pressure the lanes, find openings like that.
Mjolnir, almost complete for Somnus. We've got the 20 strength for the Pangolier. Popping the link, it's managed to get the Hex follow up, and they're just going to try and jump out as quickly as possible. They do have him dead. That was buyback from Ame, and that's 2 minutes. He is dead for 2 minutes now off of the buyback around Roshan, and LGD know about that.
Yeah, there was no one near him. And it just decided to step forward.
And now Seven's going to do everything he can to try and force the attention to the side lanes rather than that mid lane where PSG.LGD is barreling down. But that's where Ame comes into play. He may not have that Aeon Disc, but he's going to play like he does have it. It's Jarek's going to rolling in with his Glimmer Cape, the Invis-Ball. Not really doing a whole lot, especially since they have the vision down. They're going to do a decent amount of something. But now Thompson with the blink initiation from that one. Ear Splitter going to come a little bit too late. No damage being dealt. And Somnus can now turn all of its attention into the tier 3s. 80 seconds left for Anna's revival here. And PSG.LGD, they're going to have to poke him down to make sure they don't get caught by the Rabbit. He's going to be hit on 3. They're going to chase down Jackson to the back line. It's already finished off 7. The bash down is going to be good enough. And Anna, he will pay big time for his death in mid lane as his team scrambles time and time again to be able to push down PSG.LGD.
They save the racks here, it looks like.
Left.
The initiation?
Side of OG, they're going to be able to find the initiation once again on the top of Thompson. They have no save mechanism. Now he's dead for 2 minutes. And PSG.LGD, what's the point of hitting Baron? Just hit the tier 4s to go throw.
40 seconds still for this Faceless Void. Anna says to his team, my bad.
And it was indeed his bad. It's that one little mistake from him may have just cost them the game. Seth trying to draw some attention away from the tier 4s, away from the throne, but Jarek can do little to stop his death. No tails now here, 15 seconds, but the throne being just poked away by Somnus. He's doing so much damage, 2,000 HP, 10 seconds left in the void, 1,500, that's it. Game 1 is all PSG.LGD.
Such a tense game, and that one lacks in judgment.
Yep. This is what is going to determine the victory between these two teams who are so evenly matched for 40 minutes. One slip up in Roche, one slip up in the mid lane, and PSG.LGD will take game 1.
You can totally tell that they've done their homework.
This has been a great start to this series. I hope we go for the full series just like we've had in every single TI pass between LGD and OG.
Okay, and one of the things we hear from Will is the idea of LGD doing their homework. And I think that we definitely saw the stack of papers come out when OG walked onto the stage, but it is clear that LG has done their research as well. I want to go to an idea, though, that you guys talked about very early on when we talked about what this game may look like, and that was buyback. Was that really the key factor here, or would we see something completely different, Grant?
It was a little bit different. I mean, Anna kind of died back. We had that one big fight near Roche where 3PO bought back, but that game was a lot different than I expected, and it felt like both teams were just okay sitting back farming. And honestly, I was thinking maybe OG has the better late game, you know, with this Nature's Prophet as well as a Void, but one wasted Chrono, and they just kind of lost the game.
Yeah, I got to that point where Seb started some of that split pushing, right? He got the top tier 3, suddenly you're opening up shrines, and that's where things you're like, okay, this is OG. Things are rolling for them, but it was a very skirmishy game. It wasn't these massive 5v5s.
At the Roche fight, I thought Anna's going to buy back way earlier and go in. It kind of costed them the advantage that they had at the point, and we see these kills that they earn 1,000 gold. This is also very game changing.
Yeah, 22 minutes, 1,000 gold to the Ember, and then I think at like 30 minutes, 1,000 gold to the Faceless Void. The factor of the comeback is absolutely ridiculous sometimes.
So you talk about the idea of when we look at this game, it's a very skirmish game. Do we think that the next game's going to look completely different? Do you think maybe we're going to get closer to the idea that you guys had during that first game of a game that's very focused around the buyback?
I think so. I think when OG loses, they're going to change it up. They haven't really been losing, right? So they haven't had